Hello? Get your coffee, your hot chocolate, your tea, whatever, and join me for a while. I tell you what, as we was going to the Y this morning and the sun was coming up because they don't open till 8 o'clock. I better turn my hearing aids off because yesterday somebody said the voice was low. And when I have my hearing aids on, I don't talk as loud, so I'm turning them off. These are the kind that fit behind your ear. Let's see if I can get this one. I can turn it off. I'm treating my feet, drinking my coffee. Well, shucks. Let's see. I'll just take it off. There it is. See, this is what it looks like. I lost one of these dudes. Had to buy me another one, but the price was reasonable, so now I have two, and I am blessed. But you know, I'm going to talk a little louder today. I got one girl that always lets me know what I need to do, and I appreciate her. You know what? We all need help sometimes, and I'm not above asking, so y'all help me, and I'll try to talk. And what was I going to talk about today? Well, I have a verse for today. I'll look up on my phone, and this is a good one. Of course, all the Bible is a good one, but I've got this one right here. It's in Lamentations. Can you say Lamentations? I'm not good at that. 3:22 and 23. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And I tell you what, he's been good with us when James has been so sick. And I tell you what, when you have a sick one in the family, it just stresses you, you know. But we're doing so much better, and I'm thanking the Lord this morning. We can walk at the Y again. We had to miss several days because he just wasn't able. He was weak as a kitten. So this morning, as we was going to the Y, it was a beautiful sunshiny morning, 28 degrees. But as I looked at the sun coming up, I couldn't help but remember that old song that says, "What a beautiful day for the Lord to come again. What a beautiful day for the Lord to come again." I can't sing, but that's what I was thinking. Because, he is coming back. And it could be any time. We don't know. It will be like a thief in the night. So, one will be taken and the other left. And I don't want to be left. So, I was thinking yesterday about a lot of things. My mind just stays in a whirl a lot of the time, and I don't know why. But this morning, when we got up, Big Tom, true story, he came over to the door that goes into the breezeway, and he looks up at me, scratches the rug that's underneath the door, and says, "Meow." That means I want out. He wanted out in that other room, and I knew he wanted outside. He is such a smart cat. So I told him no. So he said, "Meow, you sure?" I said, "I'm sure you can't go that way." So I went into the other room, in the dining room, and there's an outside door there. So he went to that door, and he said, "Meow, can I go out this door?" I said, "No, I better not." I said, "James," and he's sitting in his chair watching TV. I said, "James, this cat keeps asking to go outside, and we let him go outside, and this is one of the smartest cats I've ever met. And you know what I'm going to do, James? I'm going to let him go because, see, this cat does not want to use kitty litter boxes. He don't. And I believe he's been holding it for 2 days because I haven't seen that I know what looks like. And I haven't seen it. I've seen the other cats and I know what theirs looks like. And his hasn't been there. So he went to that door and he said, "Yeah," again, "let me out." I said, "I'm going to let him out." I said, "If he runs off, he has the thing that's got my phone number under his skin. And if he runs off, somebody will find him and They'll know that he's a stray, and they'll take him to the pound, and we can get him. I opened the door, and I let him out. Now, we have a big outside light, and I let him out on the patio, and it's the backyard. So he looked around, and we turned the big outside light on, and we could see him going over to the end and behind the house and over toward the divide line, which has a lot of like cedar trees growing between our property and the next door. And so he was over there, and we put that light on, and we watched for him, and he didn't come back, and he was gone 10 or 15 minutes, and I thought, well, I'm going to sit down and relax, and I'm going to drink my coffee. I drink coffee over there, and I drink coffee here. I'm at my house, and I'm looking forward to that projector. I'm thinking, it's coming Thursday now. At first, they said it wouldn't come till after Christmas. Thursday's not that far away. If Jesus tarries, that's what the old-time Pentecostal people said. If Jesus tarries, we'll do this, we'll do that, the other, which means tarries mean takes his time, if he don't come right away. So anyhow, so I sat down, and we're back to Big Tom. I sat down, and I know y'all think this is strange, letting the cat outside. We don't let, the other three have never been outside, period. They don't even ask to go outside because they've never been there. They don't know it's out there. And so we made sure the others were back in case they wanted to dart out after him. And I just, I let him out. So we was looking for him. I just sat down, and I said, well, if he comes back, he comes back. And if he don't, he'll find a new home. It's in the Lord's hands. Because that cat is not going to use the kitty litter box. He's going to be constipated so bad. And that's a fact, Jack. I know I'm strange. I'm different. That's life. I'm just telling you kids like it is, and you acquaintances, and you sweet little old widow ladies that I have been a time or two, which is not fun. Change churches. You don't know what might happen. But if you're not looking for another man, that's okay too. Because I kind of enjoyed my time alone sometimes. But I don't know. I get too lonely. So anyway, God sent me a third one when I really didn't think I would ever marry again. I thought, I mean, 2 times, ain't that enough for anybody? Not me, I guess. I laugh at myself sometimes. Y'all have to excuse me. So I'm just sitting drinking my coffee, and I had forgot about Big Tom because I play with my iPad all the time. I watch Hannity. I watch the latest news on Fox, and they finally signed another thing. I don't know what's in it, but I'm interested to know if the congressman still got that big raise they wanted, which was in the first one and the second one. No, it wasn't in the second one, I don't think. I like to watch stuff like that. So they got it signed, but now I got to find out what's in it. Any of y'all watch stuff like that? I mean, I'm 91, and I'm still interested in what's going on in this world. And I'm glad Trump got elected, because I tell you what, America was going down the tubes. And him and Elon Musk has took over. And haven't seen JD lately, though. But I tell you what, that Elon Musk is one smart dude. I saw his mother interviewed. She said when he was 3 years old, she could talk to him and he would talk back and reason with her. Now, how many 3-year-olds can reason with you? I don't know of any. I didn't have one. I did not have a genius in my family. I'm the only genius in my family, and I'm not good at arithmetic, but he is. So anyhow, she knew from little on. And did you know she said he has a photographic mind, that you ought to look at that interview that somebody did with Elon's mother. He is one smart dude, and he's kind. I saw another thing about him seeing a little girl. He stopped at her lemonade stand to get some lemonade, and he saw her books or her tablet, and it had scientific stuff on it, and he ended up sending her to school, and I don't know what all. It was an interesting story. True story, I reckon. So, well, who knows? You can see a lot of phony stuff on the internet. But this morning, I'm sitting there and drinking my coffee over at James's, and kind of forgot about Big Tom. And so James goes up and opens the door. He said, "Would you look at this?" And there was Big Tom walking right past him into the house, coming right on in saying hello. And he went right, he had a box. It's a cardboard box that is the tough one. I put another thing in it to hold it. And he would sleep on it over at my house on the table, on my coffee table. And so we took it over to his house, James's house, and put it on the cedar chest by the window. And he was glad to see his box. So he came right in this morning when James, he said, "Would you look at this?" He came in, went to his box, and decided to take him a nap. I mean, that cat, how many people, cats are smarter than people think. Of course, my two little old girls, they're as dumb as they can be, but not so dumb that that one, baby girl I call her, when I go to bed, if we shut the door, she starts scratching on the door, and you have to open that door. We have tried spraying water on her, and she'll go for a little bit, and she's back. What she is determined to sleep with her mommy. And the others don't care. They don't even come around. It's just her. That other one quit sleeping. One of them, the other one that likes James, was sleeping down beside James's bed, but she decided, I'll forget it. So she don't pay him no mind. Well, we're getting ready to go to the thrift store again. Yesterday, I found a satin pillowcase for 50 cents. And I got it ready and everything, and I put it on my pillow when I got home. That is so soft on your skin. You know, you can buy really expensive silk pillowcases and kind that's supposed to cool and be good for your skin. Well, I got one for 50 cents. I'm a thrifty person, just like that Mrs. Peach, Thrifty Living. She went to Salvation Army the other day, and they were selling old, out-of-date stuff, and she got her pretty good haul. She's really thrifty. We don't have one of them around here, or I'd go to it. She lives in California, so I won't be seeing you, Miss Joyce. I call her Joyce. She can call me Claire if she wants to, because she's another YouTuber, and she's got a bunch of friends out there in California, and they get together. I don't have any here YouTuber friends in this area, except for one girl that's on TikTok. And I check her out on TikTok every so often. And I'm still on TikTok now and then, whatever hits me. I just have fun with the internet. And if we didn't have Wi-Fi, I don't know what I would do. You know, I remember, I've always been a researcher. And so, when I was younger and I wanted to learn something, I had to go to the library. And I would go to the library, and they would not let you take the encyclopedias home, and I didn't have one. So whatever subject, they would help me find which big old encyclopedia. And I would research whatever I was wanting to know about, which I've always had a curious mind. I remember years ago when the door-to-door salesmen were selling sets of encyclopedias, and they came by my door when I was married. I never could afford them. You could pay so much down and so much a month, and you could have a big set of encyclopedias. When I married James, he had a set of encyclopedias that were 15 or 20 years old. Now, one thing about them, they're interesting, but so much of the stuff in it is gone. It's outdated. It's not up to date. I want to stay up to date. I want to know what's going on now, not what happened. Well, I like what happened 20 years ago, because I do watch historical things quite often. We like to watch bluegrass. And a lot of the bluegrass people we watch are people that we saw in person. And guess where they are now? They are retired or went on to heaven. I tell you, we just loved some of them, and they disappear on you. My friend Anne Marie, who went to heaven about 2 years ago, told me this. She'd say all the time, everything keeps changing. You know, just everything keeps changing. And I would take her, I wouldn't ride with her because I didn't trust her. So we would go out to down the overlook and get that catfish that I loved, And she'd say, look at all them cars. Look at all them cars on the road. Where are they going? I said, Anna Marie, I don't know where they're going. I said, who cares? You know? She said, well, there are just so many of them. And that would be some of our conversation. Interesting, huh? Fascinating. So anyhow, James and I had a good talk this morning. And he is working on a situation that he has to hunt up in his office. He bought some property 25, 30 years ago, Scottsburg, Indiana. And now he's donating it to a church because he never did, they were going to build, him and his friend, partner, was going to build a subdivision on it. Some houses got, lots got sold, and they built, I think, 4 houses out there, and they're lovely, and we go out there, and he still owns that, and it's a big tract of property. So now he's going to give it to a church if it works out. But he's been in his office going through piles of files, finding the deeds and the things that pertain to that property. He can't find it. I don't know. I told him, I said, what you're going to have to do is go to Scottsburg, which is about 35 miles from here, and go to the courthouse and have them look it up. They got computers. They can do it. So he may listen to my advice a little later. But right now, he's over at the office working on those piles, wherever that, I don't know, Lord help him. I've been praying for him that he can find what he needs. Those deeds and those tax papers. And, you know, number 2 husband said a wise thing one time. James got a lot of stuff, property and houses and things. The more stuff you have, the more aggravation it is. And that's the truth. I'm glad I don't have too much stuff, but James, the more stuff he's got, the more aggravating it is. The more people you got to pay salaries to. You know what, one time I flipped a house. It was before I married James. I learned about from him, we were recording, I learned about you could go down to the courthouse when they had sheriff's sales, and you could buy a house, but you got to pay cash. Well, I had some cash. And so I went to the sheriff's sale, and I had looked at this house, and I bought it. And it needed quite a bit of work. And I spent 15 or 20,000 on it. And I put a new kitchen, all the appliances. We fixed the basement, and we just did everything that was needed done to it. It was an older home on a nice lot with a carport. And then it came time to sell it. And 967 Andy, who I shout out all the time, he's on YouTube. He's been a real estate man for years, and he's James's best friend, stood up with us at our wedding. So he came over and he appraised it to how much I could get for it. He said, well, I think you could certainly get $65,000 because it's an older home. And it's dated except for the kitchen. We did the floors and stuff, but still, it's a dated older home. I said, oh, $65,000? I want $75,000. He said, well, he didn't want to handle it. I said, that's okay. I'll do it myself. So I ran ads in the Tribune. And back at that time, Tribune you could get it on the internet wherever you was at. So this woman in the southern Indiana saw it. And she says, I want to buy that, and I want to make an appointment to come see it. And I'm thinking that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I was asking $75,000. I said, come on, I'll show it to you. And so I ended up selling it to her. And she bought it. She says, I used to live in Indiana, and this is where I want to settle for the rest of my days. And she was about 60 years old at that time. And you know, she's still there. And that was back, 15 or 16 years ago. And she planted stuff around that till you can't hardly see the house. I still go by it. The big old tree's still there, but she planted so much stuff, you can't hardly see the house. The carport is still there, and it's never been up for sale. We drive past it every once in a while. And I made good money on that one because I bought it for, I don't remember, but I made good money. And I saved my money, and then later on, I bought another one. And it didn't need anything done to it except the... See, James said, well, why don't you keep looking, find you another one, invest your money again. So I was looking, and this one was up for auction. And now that's been many years, 15, 16 years ago. And it was up for auction with a good friend. James knows all the auctioneers. That's why he buys houses sometimes. So we went to it to look at it, and the auctioneer was there. And the people that were selling it, which was like 5 grown senior citizens, they were there. And one of them was in charge of getting rid of everything, and he had hired the auction. And it was going to auction the next day. And so he told his friend, the auctioneer, he said, would they sell it today, you reckon? He said, well, they might. I said, well, what are they asking for it? And they told us. And I told James, I've got that much money. So the auctioneer said, make them an offer. They're here. So I made them an offer. They just now this is a miracle of God. They sat together and started talking. And they said, yeah, we'll let it go for that price. Now, bring the money tomorrow, the down payment tomorrow, and give us the rest of it, you know, a little later. Well, right then and there, I did write a check for so much, which held it. And it was sold. All it needed done, they got everything out of it. The carpet needed cleaning. I said, well, I'm going to clean the carpet. I've got a good carpet cleaner, and I'm going to clean it. So, but I said, I'm going to put my for rent sign up, and I'll get the carpet cleaned whenever they move in, because it's ready to rent. That was the kind I bought, one that was ready to... Thank you, Jesus. The Lord goes before you and makes the crooked places straight, children. It really works. He does it for me sometimes when I don't even ask. He just does it. And I thank him for it all the time. Keep a grateful heart. You know, when God does those things for you. When he keeps you alive, when you made a trip, when you go out in the car and you come home safe, just kind of thank him. So that's what I do quite often. And when we get in the car, sometimes I say, Lord, keep us safe as we go now. So anyway, I put my first for rent sign out, and somebody came by the next day. They said, we want to rent that house. Can we look at it? And I said, well, it's not ready yet. I've got to clean the carpet, but you can have it in a few days if you want to pay this much rent and the down payment. Well, you have to pay a month's rent in advance and all that, and turn on your own utilities. He said, we can do that. He said, but I tell you what, you let us move in tomorrow and I'll clean the carpet. And that's what they did. And they lived there about 4 years. And he took care of that man that moved in there, him and his girlfriend, honey, and it was just his girlfriend. I don't know if they ever got married or not, but they both signed the lease. But he just took care of everything. And I didn't have to do anything. Later on, I put an air conditioner in, and I kept it for 10 years. And I raised the rent a time or two and re-rented it because they bought a home and moved out. People move out all the time. And I re-rented it for more rent. And I had to buy a refrigerator one time, but then I knew a man that sold really nice used refrigerators, and I got one for $125, a big one. I'm thrifty too. So I rented it, and I kept it rented. And then I don't have that house anymore. I bought a house. James bought a house up in Jeffersonville or Clarksville. And it was a nice house. And we ended up swapping houses. I let him have the one I had, and I took that other one. And I said, I'm going to rent that one up there in Jeff, and I'm going to get $1,200 a month for it because it was a big house, and it was a cottage, and it had a big basement, and James had fixed it up perfect. Of course, Janie Lane still looks perfect. So that's where that one was that I bought. And so we swapped. And when I went to rent it, honey, I could not believe the people that were coming to want to rent that house. And I just started praying about it. Lord, I don't even want to rent this house. What am I going to do with it? I don't want to rent. I just think I'll sell it and get rid of this thing. So we called James's real estate lady. She says, yes, I'd be glad to help you sell that. She says, how much do you want for it? I said, 75,000. And this has been a few years ago. She said, I don't think so. I think maybe the most you could get would be, maybe be 69. I said, no. I have prayed and the Lord says 75,000. She had a contract in about 3 days or 4, not long. That's the Lord again. And I sold that house. And I said, thank you, Jesus. I don't want to fool with it. Now, James don't mind fooling with rental property. I don't like to fool with it. So anyway, it's gone. And I gave my children, my 3 daughters, a good inheritance before I went to heaven. I split some of it, about half of, well, anyhow, they was happy to get it, and they just had fun with that money, and I got to see it. You know, that's fun. I was talking to another parent that is kind of well-to-do, and I'm not well-to-do, but I can't take it with me, and I was going to leave it to them anyway, so I just let them have it now. Why not? And then I can rejoice when they get what they want with that those funds. And that's what I did. So I was talking to this other lady that's about well, she ain't as old as me. She's probably 15, 20 years younger, but her and her husband, well-to-do. And they said, you know, we've already done that too, because we just wanted to see our children enjoy it. And they still got enough to live on and everything. And that's what counts. You can't take it with you, folks. But enjoy life while it lasts. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. And that's a song I really like. So I'm going to shut up. I got to hush. We're going to the thrift store again. I'm not looking for anything. But I just like to walk around and visit with those volunteers that work down there. They've all become good friends. And I went on YouTube this morning and tried to get some hints to make my iPad more clear and work good. And I looked at this one YouTube thing and they said, put the grid on. So I put the grid on and they told me to change some of my camera settings. And I'm hoping this video turns out good. I watch some of them later myself and I say, woman, shut up. Y'all probably say that too when you quit watching after 5 minutes, but that's all right, children. Whatever happens, happens. We just enjoy life. One day at a time with the help of the Lord. So God bless y'all, and you walk that walk where Jesus would be pleased with you. I'll be catching you later, and you catch me. Tell your friends. You know, I have never said subscribe to me much, but I do appreciate you all that do and recommend me. Love you. Bye-bye.